It's good to be back. I was here in 2018 for the Kentucky Derby and had a soggy but good day that day. But thrilled for our team to continue this journey. It's been a great ride with this group of young guys. Watching them kind of navigate some adversity during portions of the season and continue to grow closer together, continue to get better. And as a result of that, you know, we're still alive and have an opportunity against a very good Princeton team on Friday.
Appreciate it. Going to start questions here in the front row on the left.
Kyle Franco with the Trentonian. Greg, you've got a chance to see Princeton on film, and obviously they have a very unique player in Tosan Iwoma. Just sort of what kind of challenges will that offense present for you?
Well, it's not just their offense that presents challenges. I think defensively, I've been incredibly impressed. I've watched a lot of Ivy League basketball here the last 3 or 4 days, and I'll be watching more in the future because I've been really impressed with the execution. The coaching in that league is outstanding, and obviously for them to be co-champions in that conference, I think speaks to how good they are. But defensively, they're terrific, and then offensively, Iwoma is. He can score and he can really pass, and if you allow him to do both, you're asking for trouble. So we have to figure out a way to slow that down. It's hard to do, and they space the floor with a lot of really good shooters. And then when they miss, the first 2 games, 30 second chance points for Princeton and 4 combined for Arizona and Missouri. So I think that speaks to their discipline defensively on the glass, blocking out, not giving you second opportunities, and then their second effort that they make to get to that offensive glass when they do miss a shot. So we have our hands full. This is a really, really good basketball team. It's not a fluke that they're still playing.
Over here on the right side, second row, Coach.
Coach, you mentioned adversity. Do you feel like it's been a streaky season? And if so, what would you attribute that streakiness and adversity to?
I don't think it's necessarily been streaky. I guess if you look at it strictly on paper, it certainly looks streaky. We won 6, we lost 6, and at one point we won 8 or 9 in a row. But part of that, especially in the conference portion of the season, was due to the strength of the Big East. And I think everybody now has found out how strong the Big East is. We have the best record in the tournament, percentage-wise, at this point of the tournament, and I think there's a reason for that. The league was really good. But there were some reasons that we struggled early. Illness was certainly one of them, and losing a key component. But we were also still growing at that time. We were starting 3 sophomores that were 19 years old that had a ton of expectations placed on their shoulders, and we're dealing with all that for the first time, and they navigated it extremely well. So I'm really proud of them for that. But it's all part of the journey. You end up at an ending place at the end because of everything that transpired before that. And had that not happened, I'm not sure we'd be the team we are today.
Front row here.
Joe Nugent, NBC Omaha. Mac, question about Jeremy Anderson. Was it a testament to his work last weekend when you guys were playing at altitude, you're trying to push tempo, and you didn't have oxygen on the benches either?
What I could say about Jeremy Anderson is if you go and look at how we played in the last 4 to 6 weeks of the season, in every season prior to his arrival, and then you look at what we've done since he's been here, we've played our best basketball at the end of the season. And part of that is on him. Part of it, I deserve the credit because I listened to him. Never have I, and this is certainly, I really respect Jeremy's knowledge, and he doesn't recommend things without science to back it up. It's not just a gut feel. He has data, and I remember the first year having a conversation as he started to want me to shorten my practices as the season went on, and I said, why? And he said, well, they're not going to have a fresh body on game day unless they have a fresh mind. So my job is to make sure their body is ready, but I can't get their body ready if they're in a bad place because they think they've been overworked, they think they've done too much. So he and I have really forged a partnership. He knows I trust him 100%. I joke about it sometimes and try to get an extra 5 or 6 minutes for a practice on occasion. But he's been a rock for me in terms of managing the season, how much we can do when a guy comes back off an injury. He and Ben McNair work very closely together to get that player back to full speed in a way that their body can help. So he's been terrific. I've got obviously my coaching staff's terrific, my support staff's terrific, but Jeremy has changed the way I look at strength and conditioning. He's changed my approach to practice, and sometimes when somebody's been in it 30 years, it's hard to take this old dog and get him to change and do some new tricks, and Jeremy's done that.
Left side in the back.
Greg, Mike Merritt from Associated Press. I'm curious what you think you have to do to be able to slow down those second chance points that you talked about, and also how has your offense evolved over the years?
Princeton does a great job of putting their body on you on the offensive glass, so we have to put our body on them first. It's that simple. If they get to us first and they create an angle, they create a seal, then I have to hope that it bounces somewhere else or they're going to get it. Offensively, we've just became better as the season's gone on. I think guys have gotten accustomed to playing with each other. I think the bench has improved as the season's gone on. Francisco Farabello had a great game against Baylor. Sharif Mitchell's had his moments. Mason Miller's done some good things. Frederick King gives Kalkbrenner a spell off the bench. So, I think the first 10, 15, 16 games, and even more than that for us because of the losing Kalkbrenner for a while, we were all trying to figure out what our role is. And I think those roles are very defined now, and I think guys are being champions in their roles. The guys that are playing a bunch of minutes are doing a good job off the floor with Jeremy and Ben to manage their bodies so that they can handle that. And to the point of the question earlier, we didn't have oxygen on our bench in Denver like our opponents, and I think our guys kind of looked at that with a chuckle, like, really? That they've got an oxygen mask down there? Like we're the ones playing fast here. So. We're in a good place, and our guys are very confident in their teammates' ability to function on the offensive end.
Stay on the left side there. Yep.
Coach Mark Ziegler, San Diego Union-Tribune. You had a very emotional, dramatic win against San Diego State last year in the tournament that was just absolutely crushing for them. They were up 9 with just over 2 minutes to go in regulation and lost. It affected their season. I know you shared a charter with them to Maui this year. How much have you followed their season, and do you have an appreciation for what they've been able to do in this tournament?
Absolutely. Steve Fisher's a great friend of mine, has been for a number of years, and I've known Dutch forever. When we found out we were both in the Maui deal and we weren't going to have a full plane, we worked together to share that charter, and Brian and I sat right across the aisle from each other all the way to Hawaii and all the way back, and we're hopeful that we'd meet in the championship game, and one of us comes home 3-0 and the other 2-1. It didn't quite work out like that, but tremendous respect for their program, and we stole the game last year. We really had no business winning. Everything had to go right in the last 3 minutes for us, and it did. And I'm not surprised that they've had the season they've had. They're tremendous defensively. They're unselfish offensively. They played in a very good league, and they won a very good league. So, it's good to see them here. I'm happy for Dutch, and I'm not surprised at the success that they've had.
Anything else? There, right side, third row.
Adam Kruger, CBS Omaha. Coach, it seems like there's a lot more media attention on your guys' team this year with the camera crew following you around. If you compare this to your last Sweet 16 appearance, stress level-wise, do you feel the same, maybe more, just because there's more media attention as far as getting game plans installed by game time?
When you're in the bubble, I was thinking about rearranging the furniture in my hotel room. That's what it got that's what it came to when you were in Indianapolis as long as we were. It was just different. You know, it was you and the team, and that's it. There was no sharing the joy with anybody on the outside, including their families, any fans. But I think your preparation, in some ways it was almost hard to believe. You know, we were taking 3 buses to practice. Like, come on, really? Just so many things that had to happen for that tournament to be pulled off. And the NCAA and Indianapolis did an incredible job of pulling it off and making it as enjoyable as possible. But I think now, because you have the emotion and the celebration around it, you have to bring the guys back down to earth on the practice floor to make sure they're ready. They had none of that the last time. And, except for Sharif and Kalk, nobody else was there. So, none of those guys experienced it. It's basically a brand new team in that regard. So I think we've managed it pretty well. I think the guys enjoyed their time back on campus and enjoyed time with their families after the game in Denver. But once we hit the practice floor on Tuesday, they were ready to go back to work.
Okay. Anything else? Follow up here.
You guys had a great crowd showing in Denver, and earlier on Twitter this week, you made an appeal to Jays fans to come down to Louisville. I mean, what kind of atmosphere are you expecting again from CU fans?
Well, I'm one of those guys that likes an underdog and a Cinderella too, so I have a feeling it's kind of going to be us in blue against the world on Friday because of what Princeton has accomplished here in the first 2 games. But I think we'll have a great showing. I was very impressed with the amount of people that turned out in Denver, especially coming off the Big East tournament when a lot of those same people were in New York. And I think we'll have a great crowd here. I think people understand that it's hard to get to this level. And really, in the modern era, this is the first time any of our fans have had an opportunity to come and enjoy a Sweet 16 because the numbers were so small in Indianapolis. So I think a lot of people will be here. I think it'll be a great environment and obviously playing a really good team.